Stuart. How are you doing, pal?
A national inquiry is meant to work. It's illegal. It's unlawful. Inner MP. And he showed the entire nation every bit of evidence.
He'll grow with it, and he'll do something.
And eventually, people in that pain this day. However, before I start, you'd be cheering your socks off for this girl when I mention this name. She has been...
The authorities, it's what Nick was saying earlier. The authority, we need to get rid of Labour, because that is
the first point of contact for me in Barrow.
this is some of those three folks now, and we know they're saying using apps like Uber Eats, all delivery drivers should be BDS checks.
To hold the councillors to account. They're in Rod, Blythe, they've been in off.
See, they're failing to come out on 9.
Front, so you can hear and see, and you alright though? Alright, okay. I'm not being ignorant with me back to you. Yeah? Alright guys, so I'll come over in a bit closer so you're going to hear me because I've got a really good mic set up. Right guys, we're going to start. Before we do, hang on a minute, 1 minute, I'm unprepared. Where's Jason? Jason, and your bag? Can you pull them out for me please? So we're going to start today on a sombre moment. Many years ago when I began this fight against the abuse of children here in Rochdale, I was privileged and honoured to meet a young lady by the name of Charlotte Tetley. Charlotte was a lovely Rochdalian girl who was epically failed, like the rest of them, by the establishment. Not only was she failed, she was ignored. Not only was she ignored, but ignored, she was, when she asked for help and when she knew she had a problem, she asked for help, they farmed her out to Macclesfield from Rochdale, away from her whole social network, a whole support network, and they moved her to Macclesfield. In Macclesfield she had many issues as well with her mental health, with coping as a survivor. Unfortunately, Charlotte took her life. It kills me to have to say this, I don't like speaking about it, but maybe someone else will go into the details more than I'm able to, because I feel it cut to the bone with me, because I've met the girl in person, I've tried to help the girl in person, it just wasn't, I wasn't able to. She's not a survivor, she did not survive, and it's because of them she did not survive. So before we start, before we have any speakers, we must hold a minute's silence for that girl. But not just for her, but for Victoria Gogia, for Charlene Downs, and for the many other girls across the UK who lost their life, not just to be abused, but to silence. The lives were taken. So we're going to start today, after that big noisy git shuts up, and we're going to have a minute's silence. Okay guys, so thank you for bearing with me on that. We'll start now, a minute from now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much guys, thank you very much. So, for those who are from Rochdale will understand, because I've been telling them for years, that Rochdale and the problems in over the border in Oldham are hand in hand. They're the same people, they're the same areas. And I'm going to bring someone up now to speak to you who knows a lot more about Oldham's problems than we do, as much as we do about Rochdale. So please give a Rochdale welcome and a nice loud applause to Sir Razumir.
You want the other mic, or you phone that one? Rog, they are.
Where's yours, mate?
You're on there, pal.
Thank you.
Go, thank you. Right, I'm here, ladies and gentlemen.
We made this political 7 years ago. And it's took us 7 years to force this to where we currently are, which is on the verge of a national inquiry. The national inquiry will be rigged. Make no mistake about it whatsoever. And if you're following what's taking place with the Minister for Safeguarding Girls, that's the title, the Minister for Safeguarding Girls, a woman called Jess Phillips, everything she has shared so far has demonstrated that they will try and rig the inquiry. Now, the reason why it matters to you, to me, is that we have forced, by making it political, and people say to me, oh, there's only a handful who turn up to these events. It doesn't matter. The entire nation is behind us on this. And those who aren't are the ones who are either complicit in what took place or benefited from what took place. And so there is no ambiguity. And in the past, they've arrested me for more or less these words as a racist, but we forced the government, Baroness Casey, to admit to these words. These were racially motivated crimes. In the main, an over-representation of Pakistani men gang raping and trafficking little white working class girls across this country. And never forget that. Because one of the things that they're trying to do with the national inquiry is change and expand the remit so it looks at child abuse in its entirety. Well, let me share with you what makes this specific type of child abuse very different from all the others. And that doesn't mean we don't care about all the others. Those arguments that those people make, they're ridiculous. Of course, every one of us cares about the abuse of children. But there is something that makes this specific type of abuse very, very distinct. Your children were sold for votes. No ambiguity whatsoever. Your children, our children, were sold for votes. These men infiltrated the Labour Party. They quickly worked out that the drug dealing, hand in hand with the gang rape of children, would be ignored. They had immunity because of the sackfuls of postal votes that they provided to the politicians. And in the first instance, what these people did, the politicians, the councils, they bribed them with their community centres. Why do you think you have names called a Bangladeshi community centre, a Pakistani community centre? What would happen if you created something called a white community centre? There'd be a front page article on The Guardian condemning you as racist and far right. So they first of all bribed them with these community centres in the 70s and the 80s. But they weren't satisfied with that. And I say this not to criticise, but so to educate. The communities that I come from are run by cartels. They're run by gangsters, and they're run by very, very powerful individuals whose immediate family members, on one hand, are businessmen who launder money, on the other hand, drug dealers, convicted drug dealers. They drive up and down the streets in fancy Ferraris. These are councillors, these are politicians. In broad daylight, their immediate family members are members of the grooming gangs. The cousins, they don't care. A couple of months ago, Lord Ali, Rotherham, heard of him?
Yes.
Him and his brother raped 2 boys. Yeah, they raped boys. finally convicted. He gets out of prison. He's hanging out in that new pyramid thing in Stockport for a Dubai property fair full of Pakistanis. Next to him, Afzal Khan, the MP. Can you imagine if you're an MP, a senior government MP, walking through a corridor on friendly basis with a man who's just come out of prison for raping little boys? They don't care because they know that the votes they provide give them protection. It is no more complicated than that, and you're seeing it play out now. Not just on the issue of the grooming gangs, you're seeing it play out on so many other issues. And it doesn't make a single one of us racist. You know why? Because there are people in those very communities who hate these people as well, but they are powerless. They are powerless to speak out, just as so many others here are powerless to speak out. I was asked earlier, where are all the men here? Where are all the other people here? How many of you know that if you came and stood alongside me, the police would knock on your door? Your employer would call you into a meeting. You'd lose your job. Your daughter, a friend of mine, a lady who follows my work, phoned me up crying last week. My daughter, who's now graduated with a politics degree, won't speak to me anymore because she thinks I'm a racist because I listen to you. This is what we are fighting against, and it will take us a generation more to get to where we need to get to, which is cleanse this cancer from out of our country. So the grooming gang public inquiry will be a cover-up. They are about to appoint a chair. My information is, of the two that they've shortlisted, the preference does not even have a legal background. It's not a judge, it's not a barrister, it's not anyone with a legal background, it's someone they can manipulate. Even the Guardian newspaper last week ran an article, and the Guardian hates us and hates everything we stand for. The Guardian ran an article that essentially said that the government have already determined the terms of reference and no judge will agree to front it. This is not how a national inquiry is meant to work. It's illegal. It's unlawful. You have Rupert Lowe, the independent MP. I am supportive of Rupert Lowe. I don't care if he's reform, if he's advance, anyone who stands on the side of wanting to stop the gang rape of children, I will stand alongside. Whatever political differences we might have, I can deal with them afterwards. But first of all, we stop the raping of our children, and we stop those who benefit from raping our children.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The Labour Party last year wrote to me. They threatened to sue me. They threatened to sue me because I named politicians. So everywhere I go, I name politicians, and I challenge the Labour Party to sue me, and I'll see them in the High Court. I am not a wealthy man. I live in a very small apartment with my child. If I lose it, I lose everything. But you know what I will not lose? The ability to look in the mirror and see what looks back at me.
Go on, lad. Well
The
said.
name of the politicians that I know are involved in the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of my town's children include the now MP, Jim McMahon, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon, Debbie Abrahams, MP, Angela Rayner, MP, Andy Burnham, the Greater Manchester Mayor. Burnham hides behind his Twitter account calling me. Name the place, Andy Burnham. I will show the entire nation every bit of evidence that demonstrates your role in the cover-up of the industrial scale gang rape of this nation's children.
Well said, lad. Go on, lad.
The government will announce next week is my information. The chair of the National Inquiry. I will release a series of documents that demonstrate, that have been sat on, how it is rigged and what we must do to hold them to account. Do not lose hope when it's rigged. Just know that it's another step in the journey to where we need to go. And so we understand where we need to go. It is justice for the survivors, prison time for those who committed the crime, and even more prison time for those who are complicit in the cover-up.
That's well said.
So please keep coming to these events. Our numbers have grown far greater than they've ever been. And our voice now, what we talk about now that they once deemed to be far right and extremist, is now echoed in Parliament almost word for word, and that's only happened because of every one of you, and for that I will be ever grateful. When I started this, I was petrified that I would be standing alone. I'm not standing alone. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take a minute, Rod. Take a minute.
Rochdale, everyone.
Take a minute, pal.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Raja Mir.
Well done.
It's not easy to get up here and say this type of stuff about being persecuted by those on the other side. This man has put his head way above the parapet to do so. So it's not just he's loved in Rochdale, he's loved in Oldham, but he should be loved all around the country. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Raja Mir. I'm going to stick with Oldham now, because Raja's not the only person from Oldham at the moment who's fighting this cause. It's because I've got a lovely little firecracker here for you. A lady who's been persecuted herself, who understands what it is to be persecuted for standing up and standing up for survivors. Please give a Rochdale welcome to Deborah Barrett-Cole.
Well done, Debbie.
We're dead.
Yeah.
Come on, Deb. What do you get? Look.
Yeah.
He's getting up, he's getting down, what's that? Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Deborah Barrett-Cole.
Good afternoon, Rochdale. It's been a while since I've been here. We've got a wedding or something going on up there. Look at this here. Has anybody seen the window with the red covering? Have you all picked that out? Do you all know about that? The window? Do you know about that?
Tell us anyway, Debbie.
Cyril's window.
That's Cyril Smith's window. That's where he used to look out over his children so that he could pick which boy he wanted. That's what Cyril Smith used to do, and it's marked up, and they've painted the windows and they've done it up, but they haven't changed his red window. I wonder why. Anyway, my name's Debbie Barrett-Cole. Lovely to see you all here, and
Don't say it.
Go on, say what you want. Say anything you like.
Say what you want to say, Debs.
I was just going to go Esmeralda the Belt. Right, so on the 6th of November 2019, I went up to Oldham Council. Now that's documented and it's been shown all over Facebook, and I went up to ask one question. The question was, why had Oldham Council not told the residents of Oldham that Shabir Hamid, Daddy from the grooming gang, worked for Oldham Council? They did everything within the power for me not to ask that question. They adjourned the meeting twice. They brought the police in who said, you're not disrupting the meeting so you can carry on. In fact, my friend over here, Peter, was the one that was disrupting the meeting at the time, because he had his problems, didn't you, Pete? I did. You did. So anyway, from that, people kept saying to me, you need to stand in the elections, we stand in the elections. So with Rajamir, we got together and I decided to stand in the general election in 2019. We had 8 weeks, roundabout. So I went up against Jim McMahon in Oldham, Western Royton. They've added Chatterton in on that now. I didn't win. I never knew I knew I was never ever going to win, because I was going up against the Labour postal vote. I did beat UKIP, so I'm quite pleased with that. So I did get 500 votes and I was happy with that. That's my little pat on my back. But what happened after that was very, very telling. Because Jim McMahon, because I was going around and telling everybody what Jim McMahon was doing, covering up girls being groomed in shisha bars in Oldham, not telling parents because they didn't want racial tensions in the town. He didn't want to stir up the racial tensions in the town because Lee Rigby had been murdered and it was time of his funeral. So Jim McMahon decided, I know what I'm going to do. I know I'll shut her up. I'll have her arrested. So he tried having me arrested and he got Sergeant Andy Day from Oldham and he was chasing me and he was saying, if you don't come in for a voluntary interview, I'm going to have to arrest you. And I went, go on then, arrest me. I'm not coming. And he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And so, in the end, I said, you know what, I'll come. And I went along with my solicitor. And Jim McMahon said I did this and I did that, and I slandered him through while it was through the purdah. They have within Parliament, you have a purdah, where you can't slag anybody off, which I didn't slag anybody off. I did it prior to that. I'm not daft. He also raked in, well actually no, Debbie Abrahams raked in Rajamia, saying that he'd slated her off, which he hadn't slated her off, and she edited things that he'd said. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is what your politicians would do, because we've got an Oldham councillor here, and I think he's very brave coming here today, because he's come to show solidarity, and I'll believe, trust me, the first things I said to him was, you from the Oldham group, what are you doing here? And you can ask him, and that's exactly what I said to him, because if he would have anything else, well, I said to him, I'm going to kick your head in, you know what I mean? I'm an Oldham girl, what can I tell you? You know, but I've had a chat with him, and I've put him straight on a few things, and hopefully he will take that information away and he'll grow with it, and he'll do something about what I've told him. However, the politicians here in Rochdale and in Oldham and in every Labour town you can name, Barrow, Telford,
Rotherham,
they are all Labour.
Oxford.
I can't name all 50. I can't name all 50. But I live not far now from a place called Hull. Well, they say Hull, I got Hull. Hull. And we've got it going on there. And we've got hotels there, and we've got people coming over and abusing children and raping women and what have you. The thing is...
Okay, before I move on to our next speaker, a bit of a surprise here. So for the first time ever, I've actually got my team with me. They've never ever stand in this public because I don't let them. They're working on the front line, they're working with survivors, and they run. But it's about time they got the respect they deserve. So a big warm welcome for Emma, Michelle, Jade, wherever you're riding. She's over here. These guys work relentless every day, Monday to Friday, making sure your children are safe and making sure that the information that needs to be brought in is brought in, and helping those that need it every single day. They never turned up before.
Robin Tilbrook. I interviewed him on my YouTube channel about a month ago. So he's a solicitor, heard about the grooming gangs, heard about the men who went to court, were found guilty, so this isn't, we think he's guilty, found guilty in a court of law, and then he decided to himself, do you know what? If this was any other crime,
I know.
the victim would take that person back to court and sue them. So he said, I'm going to crowdfund this, and he found the victim willing to do it. First of all, he tried to advertise in newspapers what he was doing. Basically, no win, no fee court case. If you're a victim of this, we'll go to court. And the newspapers wouldn't take his advertisement. Imagine that. Imagine newspapers saying, we're not going to take your money as a no win, no fee solicitor. But eventually he found somebody, and he took her perpetrator guilty, he took him to court, and he sued him, and he won. And that victim has been awarded, I think it's £420,000 as a victim. And they've took his house
They've took the perpetrator's house and it's going to auction to be sold, and she's going to get £420,000 as compensation. Now I call that a victory. I call that compensation for those girls who went through that. I'm talking about other paedophiles. We should be looking, going on. Do you own a house? Do you own a business? Have you got money in a bank account? Do you own stocks and shares? Because we're coming for that. Because not only are you going to pay by going to jail, we're coming for your money. What do you think?
Charlene Tetley, is that her last name, Charlene? She sat on the railway lines.
Yeah.
She had nothing all her life. She was raped and tortured.
And committed suicide.
The perpetrators went to jail, came out, and they lived near her. So she left her town and went somewhere else where she got no support, nobody. And social services didn't look after her. And she cried to social services and gave up and went and sat on railway lines, and that was the end of her at 33 years old. She should have been sitting on a pile worth $500,000 instead of sitting on the railway lines. That's Charlie.
Absolutely. And we've got there's many cases of these girls who end up killing themselves because they can't cope, because they're broken. We allow them to be broken, and eventually people in that pain say to themselves, I need to end the pain, it's too much. And I'm sure £500,000 isn't going to stop the pain, but it might stop future paedophiles going, oh, I might lose everything I've built up, and we might use that money to find more paedophiles and prosecute them and get some of the politicians in jail. Now, everything we're doing today is on social media. We've got cameras everywhere. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people will see these speeches, will understand more what's going on. That's how we know we're winning. And everybody here today, you've contributed to that. This isn't a one-man band. This isn't just one person who's managed to do that. 20 years ago, if you was here 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you were the people who kept this flame alive, because everybody else wanted this flame to go out. Nobody wanted us to be here today. They wanted it all to go away. And if you've been campaigning for this for decades, you've kept this alive because everybody wanted it to die. So I personally thank you for the people who've been pushing this, people like Billy and Raja, because no one wanted this. No one wanted this. With a pain in everyone's backside, but it's justice. That's what we need. So thank you much for coming out today. Keep sharing. The internet is where we're going to win this. That's why we are where we are today. It's the internet. They can shut all of us up individually. They can refuse to print it in the papers. They can refuse to get us on GB News and the BBC. They can do all that. But the internet's free. The internet's worldwide. They can't keep it off that. And that's how we're winning this. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well done. Well done, Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Got it there, pal.
the People's Mayor, Dick Buckley, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to slightly move on from Rochdale Oldham now. I'm going to start talking about another place that I became massively involved with over 7 to 8 years ago, and this is with Barrow. You all seen I went to Barrow. Many people in the movement said I'd stay away from that, Billy. Once Billy sees what Billy sees, he will never walk away. I will stay to Barrow, and I'll stay there even till this day. However, before I start going on about Barrow and introducing the speakers, I want to just speak about a very special lady who's not here today, which is Ellie Reynolds. Hey, but when I tell you what this girl has been through, what this girl has done, you'd be cheering your socks off for this girl when I mention this name. She has been an absolute icon in Cumbria in fighting against the abuse of children. She put herself above a parapet. She was absolutely destroyed by the Antifa left for over 5 years, where they hounded her and her family. And people like myself and the next speakers that you're going to speak to, we was all a victim of this left attack, because this girl stood up and said, children in my town, and I'm one of them, are being abused. The Cumbria authorities came round and said there's no grooming gangs in Barrow. So my next speaker is Mr. Ian Oakey from Hull, and he's going to tell you otherwise.
Yeah, Ian.
Yeah.
Got it. Go.
We on?
Yeah.
Right, thanks for the help, Billy.
Oh, let me
Right.
get up there.
If you talk me down,
Right, ladies and gentlemen, and Billy, thank you for giving me this space today. as Billy's just been going on about Barrow, my story's involved in Barrow, Rochdale. Is that better, Mike?
Is that better?
No, you
That
just
better?
need to hold it closer.
Hold it closer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, so, I got involved in this by pure accident. I was watching a Sky documentary about abuse of young girls in Hull, in Yorkshire, which I've been reminded so many times today. I couldn't believe that it was happening in Hull, so I wanted to know more. I went into it, and I started a group up called United Hull. We started demonstrating. There was an operation called Operation Marksman, which was looking into what had gone on. I campaigned for 4 years to get the operation reopened because it was closed, because there was no evidence. There were 34 perpetrators arrested and released. There wasn't enough evidence, apparently. I set United Hull up to campaign to get this reopened. I was successful. Over my journey, I met the people like Billy. When we got talking, and it all came about that the same perpetrators that were working in Hull, were working in Barrow, were working in Rochdale. It was the same group of people. I couldn't believe it, and they were all the same people. Takeaways. I campaigned, got it reopened, and it was reopened under conference. That was its tactical name. Now, that was in 2021. This is still going on to this day. One of the survivors has recently been arrested because she was accused by certain perpetrators of prostituting young girls. Now, this survivor, although is a very strong young lady, stronger than I'll ever be, suffers depression, anxiety. She's told me, I can't do it, I can't go on. Fortunately enough, and to touch wood, she's doing a lot better these days, but this is what we're up against. The authorities are forcing them to crack so they don't carry on with the case. And this is not just in Hull, this is Rochdale, Oldham, Telford. Everywhere you look, it's the same wherever you go. The authorities, is what Nick was saying earlier, the authorities are the ones that are pulling the strings. We are slowly but surely cutting them strings, one by one. But we can't stop. If we stop, it all goes quiet. This national inquiry, will it ever happen? Not under Labour. I'm 100% sure it will not happen under Labour, because 99% of the councils were run by Labour when this is going on. They will drag their feet. Are they going to appoint a chair? Probably not. We need this change now. And what Debbie was saying, we need to vote. We need to get rid of Labour, because that is where it all lies. It's not just councils, social services, all controlled by Labour. And I don't believe anybody here believes any different. I think we all know the truth. The truth is Labour are the ones that are controlling everything. When it was going on in Hull, it was a Labour council. It's now a Lib Dem council. Lib Dems have just crawled away. They don't want to get involved. I've tried. They do not want, that was nothing to do with us. Humberside Police, exactly the same. All the people that were involved are no longer with us. They've moved on. It's all new. No, it's still there. There's still evidence. I heard a story today about evidence being buried in a room not a million miles away from here. This is the truth that is going on. We know we can't prove it because they've hidden it that well. Please, remember when you go to that polling station, vote. Let's keep going for the girls, keep going for the survivors. It's not just the girls, it's the boys as well. Remember that. Thank you.
Well done. Have we got it? You got it? You all right?
Once again for Ian Oakey, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done.
Right, so sticking with the Barrow and Hull thing, because like Rochdale and Oldham, these abuse scandals go hand in hand. like I said, the next speaker I'm going to bring up is someone who I met many years ago in Barrow. He was the first point of contact for me in Barrow, and he told me a story which he's going to share with you now. And from that story, all that we got from the establishment was there's no grooming gangs here in Barrow. Now, after a convicted grooming gang in Barrow has been convicted, now he gets to have his say, and now he gets listened to, because before that he was shamed, he was attacked by the left. Now he's here, he's proved that he was right. So let's stand up and let's give him a warm welcome. Jason McCulloch.
You alright there? No, I want to get up.
Keep it close. Go on, get up.
Go on now, pal. There we go.
Good afternoon, guys. It's been a long time coming. I've waited since 2018 to try and tell my story. In 2018, I discovered my 11-year-old son and his friend came to see me to tell me about a bad man in an ice cream van in our local community on the Ormsgill estate in Barrow. I didn't believe him. I didn't believe there was a bad man. I believed that these people had to be checked, they had to have DBS checks, the same rigorous checks that I had to go through myself as a trader. We found out that the man driving the ice cream van was in fact on bail for some nefarious charges. He was on bail for alleged grooming of children and for alleged rape of several victims. Anyway, I went to, my first point of call was the police, of course. You know, I wanted to know why they were driving around in an ice cream van. The police were powerless to do anything because these people were trading on loopholes in the law. That loophole being that they were trading as a delivery service. That meant they didn't have to have the same checks, the same vigorous checks that everybody else had to have. They were trading without putting the bells on. They would go around. They were in an ice cream van. 7 years later, that man has now been prosecuted and he is serving a life sentence of 28 years, along with his two brothers, for grooming charges, for historic grooming charges. Those charges relate to offences that predate 2010. In 2018, this same individual was still running around in an ice cream van. When I tried to expose what was going on, I was exposed as racist. I was told I was a racist, I was a Nazi, I was a fantasist, and there was no truth to the allegations, especially by the businessman that had employed this paedophile. 7 years later, I've been proven to be right. You know, it's been a long journey. In 2020, I stood trial for alleged racial assault against one of the perpetrators from this firm. I was called racist, but I was found not guilty by a jury of my peers in February of 2020. In May of 2020, there was a case in Barrow which broke the Ellie Williams case. It's been quite controversial. It caused a lot of problems for Barrow because she did tell some lies. But there's always some truth behind those lies, and there's no smoke without fire. And this grooming gang did exist. So when Dean Holden, Chief Superintendent Dean Holden, stood on the top of Barrow Police Station and made a public statement to say there was no grooming gang in Barrow after an investigation, he lied, because he knew that this man was on bail for rape along with his two brothers. That is in fact a grooming gang. 3 or more is a gang. If anyone disagrees with that, couldn't they tell me any different? I still think it was a gang. But 7 years later, he's been prosecuted, and I'm still here trying to fight and trying to expose what's going on, trying to change the laws. Everybody is guilty of aiding and abetting these people. We have people coming in on boats, illegal immigrants coming in on boats now, and we know they're trading using apps like Uber Eats and Just Eats and Deliveroo, and we all use these apps. So I guarantee that maybe 30 or 40% of the people here have probably got some of those apps on their phone. If you have, delete them, stop using these apps, because what we're doing is we're enabling this to continue in our communities by using these apps. We need to try and change the laws. All delivery drivers should be DBS checked. Imagine being a survivor and opening your door and finding your abuser delivering food for your local takeaway. The same abusers that walk the streets of the same streets that those survivors walk. It's not acceptable. I'm not going to go on too long because I could probably stand here all day and shout, but thank you for listening. It's been a long time coming, you know, there is much more to tell. Hopefully I'll get to do it again at another time. But thank you all so much for listening. Thanks for your time. God bless you all. Keep up the good fight, because together we can make a difference.
Together we can make a difference, and make no bones about it, ladies and gentlemen. We are the last line of defence for the little ones. Yeah, when the establishment fails, there's nobody else, it's us, and only us. So we've got to do what we can to protect all our children in this town, and not every other town aside. So we're moving on now, and I forgot who I'm moving on to. I've got my list. I never write a list, but today I've wrote a list, and this is the time I'm messing up when I've got a list. When I don't have a list, I don't mess up.
Peter Brown.
Your fault.
Yeah, your fault.
You excuse me, right, guys? So I'm going to talk a little bit myself now, because I've had some speakers up, and I've got a few things that I really want to get off my chest.
Good on.
So these are Rochdale issues. So can somebody please pick this picture up below me? Cheers, brother. I forgot his name.
Him.
Oh, I haven't really.
Yeah.
Oh, better believe I'll never forget his name. This is Aftab, a Labour councillor. The very Labour councillor who stood in the court in Liverpool and gave a character reference to a grooming gang. I just want to send them a message. Be it wherever I am, I'm coming for you in May. I myself are coming for you in May. I'm coming for you, big fella. And I'm going to run you right out your seat, because you should never have one in the first place. The minute you stood on the platform and said, these men are okay, even though they abuse children. So you're next. After you're next. And that's where you belong, on the floor. The next three I want to cover are three that shouldn't even be here. Abdul Rauf and his boys. Abdul Rauf were three men, a part of the Rochdale grooming gang, who should have been deported over 15 years ago. They're on the third appeal, they're still here. Now they're saying, oh well, we can't deport one of them because he's a role father for his children. This man raped and abused and trafficked the children of Rochdale, yet he's still here. The last time I held a protest, the day before the government released that these men are being deported, guess where they are? Still here. Guess what they haven't done? Been deported. That's what we're stood here for today, to fight against that, because the Labour Party have made a promise that these men will no longer be a risk to our children. And here they are, walking around Rochdale like they've done nothing wrong, and we've got to accept it. If we say anything to them, we're the ones doing the harassing. So we're going to push, we're going to keep fighting. Abdul Rauf and his three boys are going from this town, and going from this country. We want them out. I'm going to talk about Operation Lytton, which is live now as we speak. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but up until last week there was a conviction of 7 men in Michel Street Crown Court over 147 years prison. Thank you, establishment, because that's the first time in the 20 years I've been involved in child abuse that a proper sentence has been handed out to abusers. That's the very first sentence. 140, that's what we want more of that. 147 years, we got around about 20 years each, which is for me, it's not long enough, but it's longer than the 6 years they give Abdul Rauf, who was back on the streets after 2 years, 9 months, walking around the schools, walking around the town centre, walking around the shopping centres, while the survivors hid at home from him because they didn't want to bump into him. Survivors like Charlotte Tetley, who was too scared to walk down her own high street and had to move to Macclesfield to escape him. Why did she have to move? Why didn't they move back home? Why didn't they go? Because there was legal migrants, but they broke the law. The law said if you come to this country and you break the law, you get deported. Why? They're still here. They're still here. They're still here because they've got the Labour councillor standing in court saying these men are okay. These men are fine. He's going in May, and he's one of the people I hold responsible. Many of the Rochdale people who are involved have gone. They've moved on. Like the coppers, like the social workers, like the council leaders, they've all gone, they've all moved on, they departed. But we haven't forgot who you are, and wherever you go, we'll be there to meet you, and we'll be protesting against you, whatever seat you hold. Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
As I speak to you now, Operation Lytton's not finished. Operation Lytton, still today, has 48 men on bail in Rochdale alone on bail for abusing children. Yeah, there's another 5 trials to go ahead at Mitchell Street Crown Court over the next 12 months. I told you when we stood here last time there was 64. Some of them obviously been convicted, 2 grooming gangs convicted, the rest of them are yet to go. So this isn't over for us in Rochdale. We're going to go on there, we're going to get another 3 trials. And I'm just going to give you some of the information from this trial. Locking kids in basements, not letting them go home for 3 days. Whipping them with a kettle lead. I mean, some of the things I can't say on here because there's a child stood with us, and I don't want to go that far in because her innocence is everything we have to defend. Yeah. Their innocence is everything we have to defend. At this moment in time, I'm in between politics at the moment, but I'll always be a campaigner against child abuse. I'll always fight on behalf of the children of Rochdale, of Telford, of Oldham, of Rochdale, and every other child in the UK that's under attack, if you like. We're here to help you, and that's all we exist for. That's the only agenda I have. Okay, so thank you guys. I'm going to move on now and open the mic a little bit to some speakers. Yeah. Dorothy, ladies and gentlemen. So Dorothy has been campaigning and fighting against the issues we have of safeguarding in under 5s in the schooling system. This lady has been forefront of that fight and been the most vocal in that fight, so please give her a warm welcome.
Hello Rochdale, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm glad that there is at least one councillor in here that's turned up, because I've been banned from Oldham Council for disclosing safeguarding concerns that are still outstanding and have never been dealt with. Jim McMahon, it's covered up on his watch, and he's done it with Ofsted and with OMBC and with Red Robin Preschool. They've watched me be banned from Oldham Council and not be able to declare safeguarding concerns, and yet they can argue amongst themselves and not get banned. In fact, they get paid to have a row in Oldham Council's chambers. No, it's not funny. They don't do it. They shouldn't be doing it. They should be setting an example of being a corporate parent and a role model to our children. Instead, we've got men who just want to take the money, and women. Lisa Navesy, you told me you don't know how to safeguard children, but you've took the role of the Deputy Safeguarding Cabinet Leader, along with Shahid Mushtaq, who also cannot safeguard children. He even has to ask John Lawrence, what do I do? Well, if he can't do it and he's being paid to do it through our taxes, I think everybody needs to down tools. You're only going to affect them if you stop that money. Stop paying your council tax. It's a start. Because that's all they're interested in, because they've been overpaying themselves, having a right good giggle about it, going on the jollies, whilst our under 5s are being ignored. They've been abused and they're still ignoring it to this day. Well, it's historic, it doesn't matter. That's what they say, it's historic, it's in the past. Well, when I broke wind the other day, that were in the past. Do you know what I mean? They think it's just a joke, and it wasn't meant to be a joke. It's not a joke. Our children are first and foremost. Every one of them matters. And I'm sick of telling people, especially women who have a go at me, who don't want me to safeguard their children because they're embarrassed that I've done it, because they've sat and watched it, because they've been on the committee, some of these people. Some of them are in council jobs and all sorts in Oldham. It happened in a church setting, and I'd hope that when it comes to this grooming gang things, they don't have a bishop or anybody from the church speaking out for the children, because they're part of and they're complicit in the cover-up. Ofsted have covered up, the church have covered up, my doctor, Zavid Chowan, is still trying to get me out of that surgery, and they've tried to stop me getting dental treatment and all sorts. I won't go to my dentist again. I had an ordeal in my dentist, I can't go anywhere. I had trouble in the hospital because Zavid Chowan and the dossier, they've told them all about me. I'm a whistleblower. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. I'd do it it again, but they won't allow me to work. I've been denied my ESA for 7.5 years, and I went in the council offices yesterday in Spindles to get a form. He said, oh, you need to see the man at the CAB. And I told him I'd not had my benefits for 7 years. He didn't even react. I mean, is anybody shocked? My children are keeping me. People are giving me food, handouts. The public, people who I don't know. The Reverend Daniel Burton from Oldham Parish Church, and I think he does it out of guilt. He brings me a food bank. No, it's okay. He brings me a food bank every week. Sometimes the missus, he says, we haven't got one this week. Well, that week I don't need to eat, do I? But I think he's doing it because he feels guilty, not because he's concerned about the children. Because you know what he said? It didn't happen in my church, but it happened in a church setting. All the abuse I witnessed in Gravelhall Methodist Church. I can name half the people, the parents, they're on the committee, parents who work there. They've all libelled me in all sorts, along with Jim McMahon, Andy Burnham, stopped me getting legal aid. I qualify for legal aid and they won't give it me. Do you know why they won't give it me? Because it's covering up for Ofsted. They don't want to know Ofsted because they want you to keep sending your children to school and preschool. I wouldn't send my kid to a school again, not ever. Mine are grown up, but I pray that my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever, they don't go to a church or a school, because the church is the first and foremost. They groom the parents before they groom the children, because they want a place in that school. Oh, they've got to go to Crompton House, it's the best school. All they want is your money. You're groomed. You're groomed before your children are groomed. And if your children say out, well, they used to get a clip round the ear when I was a kid, if you said out about them, but they're always telling the truth. The children always tell the truth. It's very rare you'd get a lie from a child if they come home and told you. And they never used to believe children, but I would believe a child over any adult. Especially if they're in a situation where they're saying, can you keep it quiet, don't tell anybody. Because that's the one thing you don't say to any child, no matter how young it is, even if they're an under 5. You don't tell them, it's a secret.
Billy.
Also, I just want to tell you, when I went to this council, the man from CAB is sending me now back to Manchester University for some legal advice. So I'll keep you posted if I can get that human rights lawyer, because I've been denied the security of an income for over 7.5 years. And if my children hadn't been looking after me, people say, well, why can't you do this, why can't you do that? I can't even have a trip to Wales, or I'd love a trip to Wales. I can't even go to Blackpool. I can't even get a bus pass, and I'm in the middle. On the 6th of November, I'm going for another interview with a private doctor to try and get some help to get me money.
So, just let me quickly jump in on you, my lovely. This is the price they pay for whistleblowers, so you understand why there's no one doing it. This is the price they have to pay. You know, she's struggling to live thanks to blowing the whistle against the abuse of children. That should never happen in the world that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. It should never happen. So again, Dorothy.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind me telling that is one of the reasons, because of the effects it had, but don't let it silence you. Do not be silenced by anybody.
Go on.
Thank you, Rochdale, and thank you for everybody who's shown up and turned out for the children.
Right.
Thank you, Billy.
Well done, Dorothy.
You've always got a platform here with me, mate. Don't you worry about that. If I'm speaking, you're next, yeah? Guys, there you go. A whistleblower has had to live under the breadline for the simple reason is she's tried to protect children under the age of 5. If that doesn't get you angry, I don't know what will. So my next speaker is a lovely lady from Wales. Hey! who's come all the way from Wales to speak to you guys today, so let's make her feel warm and let's make her feel Dorothy Lords, ladies and gentlemen.
Tell her to hold it close, she's looking for... Right, just put it... Yeah. Where's the
Hi
other one?
Rochdale, lovely to be back here again. I wish it was the sun was shining, but at least it's not raining. What have we achieved since I last spoke here? I have spoken in Rochdale, Lancashire, Newtown, Powys and Haywood.
When you're up, just
Rochdale has featured in all my speeches. I have used Rochdale as a prime example of the grooming gangs. Last time I spoke here, I mentioned Child Protection Wales and how schools were including sex education lessons for children as young as 3 with no parental opt-out. Some of the teaching aids are pretty graphic, and I will give out some leaflets after the speech. So I ask you this question: are schools grooming your children? The powers that be argues that if a child smiles while being groomed, then they are complicit in the act and it's okay. We all have a common enemy, an enemy of pure evil, and we've seen it here.
You alright, pal?
Evil
How are you
on
doing?
a scale never witnessed before.
Oh.
It has infected our schools, our universities, our churches, libraries, political representatives, judiciary, media, banking, government, royalty, and even, as Dorothy has illustrated with the school in Oldham where she taught. You have to be compliant, and if you step out of line, you are ostracized. It is the children they're after. The grooming gangs have established this fact, but now they have moved on. They have found that selling sex is far more lucrative than selling drugs. You can only sell drugs once, but you can sell sex, as has been already illustrated over and over again. Today I refer you to Kimberly Isherwood from Public Child Protection Wales, and we have a young person here, Jason, who goes round, goes round the whole of the UK, Scotland, Wales, England, supporting Public Child Protection Wales. And what Kimberly has done, she works tirelessly. She has produced templates for people to take into schools to make sure that they can get their children excused from these sex education lessons, because, as I've already stated, some of the leaflets that they use in these lessons are graphic, and they're being taught to 9-year-olds. We are the children's only line of defense. Our children deserve a childhood.
Bammy,
our
you
children
won't walk, you'll only go that far.
Protected, what is their world going to be like in the future? A life
Bammy's going for a walk and Speedy's like,
trafficking.
no, we've gone too far away now, so he's done.
What is a world without innocence? Our children are their currency. Time to get active and say no, people, as has been said before. Stand up to them. Your children and your grandchildren are being groomed. Go to Kimberly Isherwood, see Child Protection Wales. You will get the templates from there to support you when you go into the schools to speak to the teachers. I want to inform you that Muslim girls will not be allowed in sex education lesson. The Muslims already have Sharia law courts. They already have their own halal meals in the school. And if you go down Cardiff...
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Have you seen?
Excuse me.
Wait. Turn your cameras around. It's 18s only.
What warning?
Welcome to Rochdale. It's a Rochdale thing. Some are going to pub after. Sorry, Dorothy. Yeah, everywhere we still not know a film again. I don't know what happened to George and stuff.
I didn't even know you did.
Anyway, we go now. Are you listening to them? Are we right.
Spoke about this, and when they publish it,
Getting a nut in it there.
Yeah, who you with? Oh, through.
Yeah.
Come on and sit.
It's not just the halal meal. All the meal, all the...
Let me switch this up so we don't have a party dog.
Whatever religion you are, whatever creed you are, these people absolutely stood by while children were being abused by the people we went to, with abusing in the night, and then feeding your Holy Communion in the morning. That's the type of people these was. They're one of the worst abuse gangs in the country. So we've got to highlight them. And in one moment, Mr. Brown will be speaking on that. But before I do, he has to leave now. But you see the guy in the grey jumper with all the muscles? This is Farouk Ahmed. For the last 20 years, no councillor has ever backed me in Rochdale. This man went against everybody. He was a little councillor at the time, he lost his seat, and he stood with me ever since. So we've got to pay respect to people like that. Because he was one that said, no, not acceptable. I'm not going to stand by while children are being abused. I'm going to make a stand. It cost him his seat. He's got his seat back now under another party, and he's still one of the best councillors in the town, and he's still standing supporting me. So he gets all the respect from me, and I believe he deserves it from you guys as well. Thank you, Farouk.
Well done, Farouk. And your team. The whole team.
Minam's only a kid himself, but since he's been elected, he's stood with me on this issue since day one. So again, Minam, thank you, brother.
Well done.
That's what we need more of, guys. More people coming to stand with us. Whatever community you're from, we're not going to fix this. One community's not going to fix this. This has to be fixed by all the communities, because it's happening in all communities, in the church, in the council estates, in the community, which will be the first to tell you. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in schools. It's happening in. I'm from the children's home, and it happened to me in a children's home. So I can tell you, your kids in Kerr are probably the kids more worse off and more at risk than this as well. So guys, I've got Mr. Peter Brown to speak to about churches. Mr. Brown's again, he's stood here on his own at times. On his own, stood there trying to make a fight back. We should support this man more. I'm guilty of it myself. I should stand with you more, Peter. I do apologise for that. Mr. Peter Brown, ladies and gentlemen. And he's got the best accent from Oldham ever.
No, good on you, David. Thanks very much. But I'll just say this before we start. Next month, it could be our Armistice Day. And we'll have councillors and officials, MPs, standing at the foot of our cenotaphs, placing a wreath. So, in respect of all those who died, First and Second World War, we're here. We're here fighting for what you died, and you couldn't do nothing. Now, if they were alive, they would be stood here with us all. Now, I'm stood here because I was banned for 2.5 years. I were only allowed in back in the council chamber of Oldham last month. 2.5 years for holding councillors to account. And the first time was regarding a Lib Dem councillor, 22-year plus, offshore, who is now on the child sex offenders register for downloading, producing, distributing Category A child pornography. Now the Lib Dems covered up, and I heard now, the Lib Dems, they don't want to say nothing. No, well you don't, because you're dirty low-life sneaks. That's all you are, dirty low-life sneaks who prostitute themselves whenever there's a, oh, can you side with us? Can you do that? You know, and they'll side. It's a party that, in my opinion, is out, along with Labour and the Conservatives. But going back regarding the churches, we had a spokesperson, a Canon Jean Earlston, a few years ago, who opened up Oldham's Full Council meeting. What a hypocrite that woman was. What an hypocrite when you set prayers in front of councillors, never once acknowledging the harm that were done to the child sexual exploitation survivors, victims. You're praying for all these councillors. Absolutely disgraceful. Now, I did have a meeting, and at that time, it was an Archdeacon of Rochdale, David Sharples, and he was thrown under the bus by the Bishop of Manchester. Now, this week, I invited Karen Smeating, the Right Reverend Canon Carol Smeating, who's now the Archdeacon of Rochdale, to come here. And unfortunately, I did get a reply, and she said that I'm in other engagements, so sorry. So I sent her a text back, thanking her for a reply, and hopefully she may attend again. Now, I know fine well she won't, because Billy and his lads were with us 2 years ago, right outside when the Christmas markets opened in Manchester, right outside Manchester Cathedral. Right outside Manchester Cathedral, where the Bishop of Manchester sent me a letter. I don't want to talk about this issue anymore. Go away. Don't raise this issue. Well, I'm raising the issue. If our reverends within the Catholic Church, and I'm a practicing Roman Catholic, I'll be going to Mass tomorrow, and I even pulled my priest up and said, you know the worst thing the Catholic Church ever did? He said, what's that? I said, you covered up and protected child paedophilia clergy, and you didn't have the strength of your own faith and convictions to open up, to ask for forgiveness and let the parishioners decide whether they forgive you. You covered it up, and it's same with the Church of England. Now, Dorothy's just said about the Methodist Church, she whistle blew. All churches are together. They're all in it together. They're supposed to be helping one another. Oh no, we were it. The Bishop of Newcastle, Helen Han Hartley, who asked for the sacking of the Archbishop of York. Asked for the sacking, covering up. Now, I'm not mithered. In my religion, you know, we don't have ladies, female reverends, but if it helps to stop the surge where male clergy can't keep it in their pants and they want to do the despicable, and we need a lady who hasn't got the testosterone, then fair enough. But I've seen Oldham councillors here, and I hope that they've got the buckle to call out, to go against whoever is in charge there, to hold the councillors to account. Now, Roger Meir was on. I'm a supporter of Roger Meir. And when Andy Burnham's assurance review, Debbie Barrett-Cole will know, Andy Burnham's, there were over 100 of us, weren't they, Debbie? Over 100. And because I raised concerns and caused a fracas in the council chamber regarding Rod Blythe. They beamed in on me and they had me where I had my finger out, and I was banned for a year because I pointed my finger. Now, there were over 100 in that public gallery who come. Yeah, Debbie Barrett got an Asborn Hall. There were a handful who they picked out. Where were the other 100?
Come here.
They picked out because they spoke out. And it's like I said, I pride myself in all those First and Second World War soldiers who died for this country.
She must be in season or
sent down to the dogs, to the pits. And it's the people, the politicians, who let us down. Now I'm looking at two inspiring buildings, looking at a church, looking at a town hall. And what we must never forget is, it was overall people working in overalls that built everything we walk in, live in, ride on, sail on, praise in. Every damn thing were built by overalls. And we have every right to hold our politicians to account. And we continue to hold them to account because that is their duty. Now, I phoned up Andy Burnham's office, Greater Manchester Mayor, the last 2 weeks, 4 times. And only this morning in Upper Mill, when I spoke to a man and his wife, and he said, I think you need to know this, Peter. Andy Burnham is on either Radio Manchester once a week on live phone-ins. And a lady phoned him up, we're allowed on, and said, why don't you answer your calls? Andy Burnham! I've left you 4 messages, along with Kate Green. Answer your calls. I'm paying you how much out of my council tax. Answer your phone to me to make an appointment where I can tell you things you need to know regarding GMP Police, the despicable cover-up of CSE, the gross failings within CSE, the failing to come out on 999 calls. Oh no. Please keep fighting. Keep going out and supporting. It's absolutely scandalous what's going on. And I'm 72-year-old and I'm sick to death. I am sick to death of them going on the gravy train, thinking they're untouchable, and the next, I think it's next month, I'll be allowed back in the council chamber. I don't know whether I'll last more longer than that, probably be a lifetime ban, but I will credit myself for holding them to account. Thank you so very much.
Good, Pete. Yeah, Pop. You're alright, Pop. I am alright.
He's one of my heroes, that guy. He's epically brilliant.
He is.
One more time for Mr. Peter Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Right, guys, and I guess that is at the end. Thank you very much for coming. We will be going again. We're going to continue to go, and the content's going to get a little bit more harsher, and we're going to start naming these people because we've had enough. We're going to name these people, whatever the consequence. I'm going to start doorstepping these people on camera with a mic. It's all coming. We've been relentless so far, but they've not seen nothing yet. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
What's up?
Yeah, that's it, guys. Keep you.
Tell everybody next time, bring some friends.
Yeah, guys, when we've got the next event, feel free. If you bring a friend, if everyone brings a friend, these numbers double. Yeah, if everyone here brings one friend with them next time, these numbers double. And we'll be going again very soon. Watch out on my page for the information. It's time to step it up, guys, because there's no inquiry, we know that. We are the inquiry, we are accountability, we are the justice, and we are the last line of defence for our children. Again, thank you.
Have a safe journey home, everybody. Thank you for coming.
you, sir.
And also, I'm sorry, thank you to Billy for always inviting me. And without the way that Billy handled us, he wouldn't get out there, we know that.
There you
Thank
go,
you for all
thank you,
attending, and thanks again to Billy.
Broadcasting some of it, so we know.
Yeah, I'll put it all together and then I'll send it to you, yeah.
Get involved, mate.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.